Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. In this project we're going to make a gorgeous card using lots of Anna Griffin elements. Everything I do use I shall put on a detailed list on my blog. I also take extra photos of the project, so maybe you prefer looking at the photos to watching the video. Take a look because I photograph inside and outside the project just to give you a little reminder. And then I try and do a few close-ups as well. There's so many projects on my blog. There's something for everybody. So please be sure to check it out. And if you've ever got anything to say, you can always comment on my blog. You can comment on Facebook and I'll get back to you. I just can't reply on YouTube. So, housekeeping over, let's make a card. And I'm looking forward to this card because it's got one of my favourite embossing folders that I have in it. And I just think it's so pretty. So, excuse the light because there's something, there's a shadow casting over my light and I don't know why. I can't quite work that out. So it maybe looks a little bit different in the next, in this video and the next one, because I just can't quite get my lights right today. Not to worry. So I'm starting with my base card, and this is a 7 by 5 inch card. This is my favourite size of card. It's ivory based, which I do prefer when I'm using Anna's items. I don't always use ivory with it, but I do like it because most of Anna's items are actually created on an ivory background, and it just makes the colours look so great basically, and that's what we love. So this is 7 by 5, my favourite size, as I've just said, and I'm using my bone folder to make sure that we've got a nice sharp crease along the edge. And we're going to start off creating the inside, which I know you all love. And I'm going to actually put this to one side while we create our masterpiece for the inside. Now already I've gone ahead and taken a piece of ivory cardstock and I've embossed it using the collector's edition embossing folder called Avery. And you can see I've taken the section that has the full bird on it and I've just embossed half of the actual cardstock, and then I've inked it, and then I've put it back through my machine between the plates, in between paper, to squash it all down again. And it's just given the little pattern of the bird. It's picked up a little bit of, the surrounding pattern, don't worry about that. But I've mainly inked the bird, and then I've inked just slightly around 3 of the edges. I've used one of the Treasury stamps, and it says thinking of you on the stamp. And I've just stamped it using navy blue permanent ink. And then the bottom section I've left plain, and I've taken one of the papers, well, a strip of the paper that we're going to use from the front, and this was from the Charlotte collection, and I've got double-sided tape on the back of it, and I'm just going to peel that off, and I'm going to run this section along the bottom of our piece of ivory cardstock, and there we go. Just run it along the edge, and then I'm going to trim the 2 little pieces off just so it's the same size, and I think that one's not bad, and that can now go into our card. I've already got double-sided tape on the back of it, like this. I can peel that away, and then this can go into our card. And if I try and get it nice and central, there we go, and press that down. And then I've also taken one of the vintage garden die cuts, and I've taken it through my Xyron machine, and I'm going to be honest, this was the very end of the Xyron, and it's only taken the adhesive on a section of it. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of glue on the back. Now, just because the die cuts and they're to be built up for the decoupage, or you know, on your projects, you don't have to use them like that. You can use them for anything you want. And I'm just going to add mine just to one side of the little bird. And that is our insert complete. Now, where I've pressed down the embossing and flattened it, so now you can write on the insert, and obviously you can write a nice long message on there. You can either write through the full section there, or you can write straight across the bird. It's completely up to you. It's just a little bit of background and something a bit different, plus it's going to match perfectly to the outside of our card. Now I'm just going to use my embossing tool again, my bone folder, and making my crease nice and sharp so it looks nice and professional when it stands up. And now we can start with the base of our card. The first thing I have is a metallic layer from Anna's metallic layer collection, and I've taken the centre section away because I've used that for our fancy flourishes that we're going to use on the card, and I've just cut it nice and neat so that it'll layer well, because we're going to put an embossed section over the top of this. So I've been nice and economical with this layer, and I'm just going to add it through the centre of our card to make that base, like so. Now, because we've taken the centre section away, nobody will know that, because as we cover it over, you will not see any of that centre section. So it doesn't matter. So if you've got your favourite paper, your favourite cardstock that you're using, and you're thinking, you know what, I'm wasting all this because I'm putting layer over layer, try being economical with it, and you can use that for either later on in your project, etc., or put it to one side to use for something else. So our next layer is another sheet of Anna's metallic layers, and I've trimmed this one down again, and I've embossed it, half of it, well, I'm saying half of it, it's just at 2/3, with the Avery embossing folder, the same one that we used for the insert. And you can see the beautiful bird on it and the detail that there is. So I'm going to add this just to the previous layer, and this is where it'll cover up the economical section that I've taken out. Now, some people call it gutting, but I don't like that word. So we cover that up where we've been frugal. And now we can go to our next layer. So I've taken a piece of the Charlotte paper, and I've used one of Anna's dies to cut out a fancy edge. Now, these dies were the beautiful 12-inch embossing folders and die collection. So I've just used the die to make the fancy edge. I've got double-sided tape on the back of it, and I'm just going to add this to one side of our card, and this should go on, oops, to the side like this. There we go. Oops, try and get it straight, Anne-Marie. No, it's not going to go straight. Now, our next layer, I've used again the 12-inch fancy, I think they were the beautiful, called the beautiful edging dies and embossing folders. I've used the same one that I used for the pattern on the Charlotte paper, and I've embossed this one as well. And I've used the same pale blue metallic cardstock that I used for the base where the Avery embossing folder was used. So I can just add that over the top of our previous layer, so it just leaves a little bit of interest there. Next, I've taken two of the die cuts from the vintage garden die cuts, and these are 2 of the gold swirls, and I'm thinking maybe position 1 to one side and 1 to the other side, and I'm just lightly going to lay them on, because then I can just tease them around a little bit if they're not in the right place. So next I've got some of the fancy flourishes, and I'm thinking maybe about there for that one. And I've got a second one. Now this is using the cardstock from the base that we were economical with, if you remember. So just add those there so I can maybe tease them a little bit. Thinking that one could go up a bit. Because it's completely up to you. It's your design. It's what you think. If you don't like something somewhere, maybe you see something I do and think, oh, you know what, I'd do that completely different. Maybe I should do the flourishes behind the scrolls. It's completely your choice. It's whatever you think that you want to create. So I'm going to go with mine about there, I think. So next I've taken one of the bird die cuts from the vintage garden die cuts, and I'm going to add it just about here. Now this is on 3D foam, and if I add the little birdies there, and then I've got one of the blue flowers like we used for the insert, and I'm going to add that, I would say about there. And then I've taken one of the sentiments as well. I've put this on 3D foam, and I'm just going to add that, I think about there, like that, just over the edge of the flower and the birds. And then I'm going to add a little bow to finish it off, just underneath the sentiment, and I'm going to press it down because I'm happy with how that's laid out. Very pretty, very different, and just something that if you were in a rush you could make that. And I love the colouring, the blues and the deep green and the little birds, of course, and it all matches in, tones in so well. And that just that touch of Charlotte paper, and on the inside as well, stands up nicely. And you've got a few layers there that you've built up, but nothing too much that it won't go in a normal envelope. So that's just a pretty card with our embossing, our fancy flourish dies, our gorgeous vintage garden die cuts, our Charlotte designer collection, and a little bit of the treasury stamp set for our thinking of you on the inside. A great way of telling somebody that you're thinking of them. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this. I do enjoy making the projects. Please, if you've made any virtual birthday cards for me for the 11th, please put them on my Facebook wall. I'm so excited. Monday's project is a special one, which I hope you're going to enjoy. Please watch it because, it's going to be a good one. That's all I can say. I don't want to spoil a surprise. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.